Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the 3X Value Growth Podcast. My name is Carrie Sauls. Today, I'm coming to you from the Live Free or Die state of New Hampshire in the U.S. I'm joined today by Doug Robbins of Robbins in Toronto, Canada. First, welcome, Doug.
Well, thank you, Carrie. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Again, thank you for joining me, Doug. For those of you who don't know Doug, he's very, very much in demand, has a very fast-growing business, and I'm very fortunate that he agreed to this interview to spend this time with us. Just so you know, Doug is an industry icon, well recognized for championing business owners, ensuring that you get true value out of your business. An entrepreneur at his core, Doug has worked seamlessly, tirelessly, supporting transactions and transitions in the mid-market, both nationally and internationally, for over 40 years. Doug is also the author of 2 books, There's Always a Way to Sell Your Business and Getting into Business. Again, welcome, Doug, to our podcast. The title that we have set so far for this podcast is Business Transitions. So without any ado, we'll get right into our 7 questions in 7 minutes for Doug Robbins. Doug, I'm going to set the timer so that we can actually keep track of this. And we're off to the races. So, number 1, who is your ideal client?
Well, ideally, our client is someone who realizes they're not going to live forever, and at some point in their life, there's going to be a transition of their business. It's inevitable. The question is, what are they going to do? Are they going to sell it, or are they going to choose one of the 14 alternatives to selling? So they need to understand and know what the alternatives are and which ones may apply to them, and then develop a business plan to implement one of those at the appropriate time. You need time in front of these transitions, and I always like to suggest clients are 2 to 3 to 4 years thinking in advance of the actual transition time.
Absolutely, and I'm thrilled to hear you say that it's not just 6 months or a year. It really makes a difference having all that extra time. Definitely. So question number 2, what problem is it that you're trying to solve?
Well, that's a really good question. And there are thousands of issues within a company, thousands of issues. What we really need to do is then identify the real problem. Everybody talks about problems, but when you hear the problems they're talking about, they're really describing symptoms of some underlying problem. And to really drive that point home, I use a rather crude analogy, but just imagine you walk into your home one afternoon and you found blood in the foyer, on the carpet in the foyer. You say, my God, if I don't clean it up, all the carpet's ruined in the house. I'm going to have to change all the carpet. I got to get at it right away. And you rush into the kitchen to find some cleaners, and you think about it, well, wait a second, where'd the blood come from? So you look around and you find there's a trail of blood upstairs. So you rush upstairs and you find your wife in bed and she's been stabbed. You say, oh my God, I got to call medics. I got to get some help from my wife. What am I going to do? And that's not the problem. Yes, she caused the blood on the carpet, but the problem is the SOB standing in the closet with a machete ready to cut your head off. So you got to get to the root cause of the problem before you try to clean it up. Most people don't take the time to do that.
That's a really good example of identifying what the problem is. So number 3, what are the typical symptoms of that problem that you see people experiencing?
Well, what we see most people doing is dealing with the results of the problem, the issues. The sales are low, so they're busy. They're going to hire another salesman. But maybe their product is no longer relevant in the marketplace. Perhaps there's a competitor with a better product or a lower price product or a better sales team or a better distribution organization. So you really need to get into KPIs of the business, the key performance indicators, and understand where the underlying challenges are emanating from. And then that's kind of finding the blood on the carpet again. You're looking at the blood on the carpet. Let's get to the root cause. What is the root cause of your problems and deal with that.
And that there's a big distinction there between the symptoms and the cause, and I'm glad you pointed that out. Okay, we're down to 3 minutes and 7 seconds. The 4th question, what are the most common mistakes you see people making when trying to solve this problem on their own?
They're putting Band-Aids on Band-Aids. Okay, they're trying to solve the issues of the problem, not the problem. And the bottom line is they don't take time to understand the problem. We have a program called 10-5-3. You set a 10-year vision of where you want to be in 10 years personally, where you want the company to be in 10 years in order for you to do what you want to do. Then you set some 5-year goals you need to achieve to reach the 10-year vision. Then you set a 3-year business plan by quarters, and not financially, but activities to achieve the 5-year set of goals, achieve the vision. Then you set a 1-year business plan, month by month, line by line, financially expressing what you're going to do the next 12 months. And you do that every year. You take 3 or 4 days to review your whole process from one end to the other. In my company, I do that every year between Christmas and New Year's.
And that follows a similar model that I advocate as well. So you're reinforcing exactly what I believe in and is necessary for people to get the full value of their business. So number 5, what would you say is one valuable free action that our audience members can implement to help solve the problem for themselves?
They got to create some time to think. Most people are reacting. They're not thinking. They haven't thought through the results of what they're about to do or what the alternatives are to the things that they're about to do. And it comes back to that 10-5-3 program. That's a thinking program. That's a very rigid process to think. And if you stop and think, things will be a lot better.
I agree. I keep saying you've got to get off the dance floor and up on the balcony so you have that time for strategic thinking.
Well, absolutely. We like to look at it as, most businesses are sitting inside a giant Coke bottle. The old Coke bottles of years ago were green and lots of curved glass, but everything inside that giant Coke bottle is fine. But when you look through the Coke bottle, you can't see a very clear picture of anything. Look at your intermediary, or maybe your personal advisory board is sitting in the corner of the warehouse looking at your Coke bottle in a case of 24 Coke bottles and a skid of 50 cases in a warehouse filled with all kinds of things. You'll see it differently.
Exactly. So moving on, what would you say is one valuable free resource you can direct people to that will further help them with this problem?
Well, we have a monthly bulletin that goes out called the Executive Brief, and it talks about issues that clients are dealing with. And you can go on our website at robinx.com and sign up for it. It's free, and it will be sent to you every month. We actually have a library of past ones, so you can review that on our website. Our website is not a sales website. It's an educational website. So there's a couple hundred pages on there. There's 38 or 39 videos on the website that you can review on different topics. So feel free to use our website.
So it's www.robinx.com?
Yep, that's 2 B's and Robinx.
Perfect. And my 7th question really is, what's one question I should have asked you that would give great value for our listeners, and then tell us what the answer would be?
Well, one of my favorite questions to ask the guy who's 55, 60, 65 years old is, what do you want to be when you grow up? That usually creates a frown and then a smile, and they answer to the effect that, well, I don't know. So then our question is, well, go back to when you started your business. What were your goals and objectives? And they think about that and say, have you achieved those goals and objectives? Oh, yes, absolutely. What was your goals and objectives in terms of financial net worth in order to retire in a way you want to live for the rest of your life? And have you achieved those goals? And you know when you're going to achieve them if you haven't achieved them. So that's probably the most important question. It comes back to thinking.
Perfect. Thank you again, Doug Robbins of Robinx, for joining me here today. Thank you for your time.
My pleasure.
Thanks for checking out the 3X Value Growth Podcast. If you like what we're doing here, head over to iTunes and subscribe, leave us a review, or rate us. It's very much appreciated. And if you'd like to learn more about the 3X Value Growth model, go to www.3xvaluegrowth.com/model for the PDF.